As you may have noticed if you've watched Player Attack before, we are rather fond of remote-controlled gadgets. We've played with little drones, jumping robots, and a couple of nifty rolling toys, and now we've got our hands on 2 more. Both are from US company Sphero, and both are pretty awesome. Firstly, Darkside Ollie. On the hardware side of things, this is a slick little black and red version of the device we checked out last year, a cylindrical rolling robot made of crash-proof polycarbonate. It'll zip around at 14 miles per hour, charges via micro USB, and is controlled entirely by your smartphone via Bluetooth. And just like the original Ollie, Darkside is more fun in the great outdoors. Rugged tyres mean that it'll run quite happily on hard surfaces like concrete or bitumen, and even on shorter grass. It won't go hunting through the wilderness for you, but if you find yourself in an empty car park or a tennis court, you are set. You can send Ollie up to 30 metres away and stay in complete control, and your phone is more than just a glorified joystick this time around. Once paired up, you can do all sorts of fun things using your handset. Trick mode means you can make Ollie perform nifty manoeuvres with just a tap or a swipe. It might take a few tries to get used to how it all works, but you'll soon be able to prompt Ollie to perform specky moves like a tiny skateboarder. But while the white and blue Ollie was a very well behaved little piece of tech, this darker brother is not. It's been designed with a more disobedient personality, which might not sound like something you really want in a toy, but rest assured that both versions of Ollie adhere pretty closely to Asimov's laws of robotics. The disobedience comes out if you leave Darkside Ollie alone for too long, and that time can vary. Rather than sitting patiently and waiting for you to return, this Ollie will start moving around without your input, performing tricks and basically trying to get your attention. On the flip side of this, Ollie is actually pretty responsive, as long as you give it something to do. You can teach it to follow simple commands using one of a handful of smartphone apps. In just a few taps, you can program the little robot to do things like move forward a certain distance, spin around, flash some lights, or perform simple choreography. Given enough time, you can teach it to pull off some quite impressive performances, and this is a great way to learn the basics of programming. Rob Maigret from Sphero explains that we as a community have reached a point in technology where robots should be able to learn, they should be able to have a point of view, and they should be able to play with us rather than just the other way around. And that brings us to our second nifty gadget, BB-8. BB-8 is the latest from the Sphero family, and yes, it is an official pocket-sized version of the ball droid that you've seen rolling around Star Wars The Force Awakens. Like Ollie and Sphero, which we looked at last year, it is controlled completely with your smartphone. This little guy has enough personality to make me feel uncomfortable referring to it as an it. He can perform tricks, respond to your voice, play augmented reality clips, and wander happily around your house all by himself, and he does it all wrapped in a pretty adorable little package. There are diagrams online of just how the technology all fits together, but after spending a little while playing with BB-8, I'm pretty sure his head is kept on through magic, or maybe magnets. Beeping and chirping away, BB-8 is packed with personality. That shows clearly if you set the droid to patrol mode, which lets BB-8 wander around your house to see what he can discover. Be warned though, the droid can't see where he's going and doesn't have any sort of sensor to stop him from running into the walls. Instead, he will ram into them full tilt, but don't worry. On one hand, the polycarbonate shell is super tough, so he can't hurt himself, although his head might fall off. And on the other, he is actually keeping track of where he's been and what he's run into, so if you let him roll around for long enough, he will create a relatively accurate map of your living room. Of course, you can steer him around yourself via dual joysticks on your smartphone, which does take a little getting used to, but is pretty simple once you get there. You can also control BB-8 with a few voice commands, but we had mixed successes with that one. Unfortunately, while BB-8 is certainly adorable, I'm a little disappointed that, unlike Ollie or Sphero, he can't be programmed. He has his own bag of tricks and he will run around by himself, but you can't teach him routines. And sure, that is only a little thing, but it feels like a missed opportunity. I mean, who wouldn't want to program a real, live Star Wars character? The downside of both of these toys is unfortunately simple. They're not cheap. Darkside Ollie will set you back around $200 from various electronics retailers, while BB-8 is another $50 on top of that. If you want to recreate the remote-controlled experiences of your youth, there are definitely cheaper options, and some of the RC cars these days are pretty impressive. But if you want something a bit different, a device that matches technology with personality, a piece of cinematic history, or a hands-on way to learn programming, it's definitely worth looking into one, or both, of these two.